Hey guys, I finally got a late Christmas gift in the mail. It took a while to come, but I know a lot of you guys were probably interested in this, and a lot of you guys showed me that they were going to release this Bloodsport LP album from Waxwork. So obviously, it's got the score, the amazing score from Paul Hartzog. It's got the cool songs by Stan Bush. But I don't even have a record player, but I'm really interested in the artwork. And if you look at this, Van Damme looks pretty amazing on the front cover. And then the back cover, you have, Frank Dukes versus Chong Li. You got the Senzo Tanaka. You got that one guy that got his tooth knocked out. You got the girl, Bolo, Ray Jackson, etc. So let's go ahead and open this and see how cool this thing really is. Artwork, by the way, is by Vance Kelly. Look how cool that is. Such an amazing looking record, double-sided. See the cool artwork, that's such an iconic kick there. Okay, so you had the red record, now you got the green one. Oh, this is cool. It's Karate Champ, basically.
What? Think you can give me some competition?
Sure, I'll try.
So, very cool stuff. Anyway, I listen to the soundtrack all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of want to get a record player now just to listen to this. Because I know a lot of you guys that listen to records, really actually prefer that because it's got a different texture, a different sound quality, and it's real, right? It's analog. There's literally some process going on, a physical process. It's got a richer sound, like a lot of people. It's actually kind of funny how record players have made a comeback. People actually prefer that.
I'll be back. Ha! You did not going to say that, did you?
And people like physical media like myself, but again, I got this mainly for the artwork. It's going to look amazing in the bookcase, but I do want to get a record player to actually play these. Oh, and there's something else tucked away in here as well. It's a really cool picture of Van Damme doing that iconic jump splits. And then, obviously, giving some history on here. Let's see, what does it say? In early 1987, I got lucky. Really lucky. I was a relatively unknown and inexperienced film composer at that time, but a year or so earlier I had scored an obscure children's video for an aspiring producer named Mark DeSalle. To make a long story short, early in '87, Mark returned from Hong Kong after shooting his first feature film, a low-budget production called Bloodsport.
I heard you can get killed at that Kumite.
I gave him a call and asked if he would consider me as his composer, figuring it was a long shot at best. He invited me to a screening of the latest edit, and at the end of the screening he offered me the job. The fee was low, set by Canon. Take it or leave it. I took it. So, I had the job. Now what? The time was short, the money was shorter, but I set to work with my rack of 80s synths and my VHS copy of the film. I still remember my excitement at starting the first scene, the opening shots of Hong Kong, the fighters preparing to leave for the Kumite, setting up the arena. In my DMX drum machine, I found a tempo that seemed to fit the scene, and once I varied the tempo in a few places and added a few odd measure lengths, off I went. Program the ostinato sound that underpins most of the scene. Compose that recurring flute melody, believe it or not. It just spontaneously popped out of my head. Keep adjusting tempos to hit various key points, add all the other instruments, move on to the next cue. That became my pattern. Find a rough tempo, figure out how to adjust tempo and measure to get from point A to point B to point C, then improvise endlessly until finding the emotion of the scene. Then, lay down the various tracks and program the drums, hour after hour. I worked 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 3 weeks before I packed up all my gear and moved to a studio to record. I spent about 10 days in the studio, a total of 133 hours of studio time. My fee from Canon was all in. In other words, I had to pay for the studio, the tape, the engineer, the musicians, the singers, my co-writer on the songs, my lawyer, and a couple pieces of new equipment for composing. Anything left after all that was profit. It wasn't much, but it was something. Something amazing for a relatively unknown composer. But what has been most amazing happened next. This low-budget fight film has become a cult classic. More than 30 years after its release, it's still playing on cable, streaming services, TV stations, the internet around the world. And now you have an extraordinary chance to hear my score in all its throwback glory on this new vinyl release. Please enjoy. Paul Herzog, 2021. Such an amazing film, such an amazing score, such an amazing pretty much everything. So this movie wouldn't be the same without the score, so Paul Herzog obviously deserves a lot of credit for the film. Anyway, let me know in the comments below if you guys picked up this amazing album.